Here we are on our brand new time, Max, on Let's Talk Antiques.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, we got David Pennington here as usual, and Max
Ray.
Northcutt and Ray Seckler.
Ray Seckler and
We got Philip, the producer, and we got a new guy, which I think is going to be, I think he's going to be all right. After talking to him, Keith, I think, he can actually look up something pretty quick, Max.
Yes, sir. Excited to be here.
He's got hair.
Yeah, he's got hair.
Hey, Lucky, he's got hair.
Yeah, you know what? I've noticed that we don't have that reflection now, that light reflection. we did have that, but it's gone now. And if you'll notice, you can't see through his headphones, on the sides, like you could Lucky's. Well, anyway, Max, once a year, there's a auction called a high noon auction. And what they do, they sell cowboy memorabilia, old Western stars, from the movies right on up to the cereal type. And there's a lot of stuff that's sold, and we're going to get to this one letter here. It says, with Lily and Melinda Carey, daughters of Marilyn and Harry Carey Jr., they call him Dobie. Did you know that?
I didn't know they called him Dobie. I was telling Ray that Harry Carey Jr., if you don't know who he was in all of the John Ford westerns, and in one of them, I think that she wore a yellow ribbon. He was known as Sandy, the character Sandy, and he was in there with Ken Curtis and all of those side characters like Ben Johnson and all those guys that they were part of the stable of actors and that John Ford took out to the desert to make all those great westerns. And Harry Carey Jr. is the blonde-headed guy.
Now his dad, you said that you remember him in one particular western.
Yeah, The Shepherd of the Hills, where it was John Wayne was in it, and he comes back to the mountains and nobody knows who he is. And I think the story goes is the way that I think that he turns out to be John Wayne's father, and he had been gone a long time.
And that's Harry Carey Sr.
That's Harry Carey Sr.
Well, anyway, Charles Russell, he must have been a Western artist. You know about him?
He was an artist and a writer.
Uh-huh.
And did a lot of good artwork and a lot of good writing, a lot of good Western stories and things.
Well, anyway, he sent a letter to Harry Carey Sr. And at the top of it, and you've got the letter there. At the top of it, it's got a cowboys and it's got horses and all that. And then he writes this letter to him. And this letter at auction brought $110,000 plus the 15% buyer's premium, which you said equaled to about $126,000.
Yes.
So, the best you can do on that, what is that letter talking about?
It's an ongoing joke between Harry Carey and Charles Russell about finding some whiskey on one of them's property just prior to the beginning of Prohibition, and it was an ongoing joke about finding buried treasure, which was a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah. Well, that letter brought $126,000. Would you ever thought? Well, I mean, he's a famous artist, and this is the famous cowboy star. But would you ever thought that it would brought $126,000?
I can see where people who are really into the Western characters and the whole scene, the cowboy scene and the old Western movies. I can see where people would want to collect something like that.
Yeah. Well, this high noon
might not mean a whole lot. Philip's over there curling his lip.
Not to Philip. This high noon auction started 25 years ago.
Curl your lip, Philip.
Why? Why can't he?
Speaking of, he's not
He's
on
in
camera.
America.
He's
He
not
can
on
do that.
camera. I guess he can curl his lip.
This
Snarly, looking snarly.
Yeah, this high noon auction started about 25 years ago, and it's really grew into a big deal. I mean, this one auction this year, they sold $1,584,250. That's not counting the buyer's premium. So if you did the math on the buyer's premium, at 15%.
Who was it? Charles Russell? Maybe Philip. You don't know. He's curling his lip again.
Trying.
Charles Russell. Who did the sculptures, Ray, that you see they're replicas, I'm sure. They're not the original stuff. But who was the sculptor that did those great
Like the Indians,
the Indians
on
and the
ponies.
horses and they're all they're in motion. You know,
Yeah.
they're beautiful pieces of work. And I was trying to think. I thought Russell was a sculptor also.
It wasn't him, but they did those in bronze and stuff.
Yeah.
I did know who that was, Max. So.
Yeah, but
Why didn't you ask me earlier and we could look that up?
Did that. We could do that now if Keith would
Yeah.
get into the program
Well-
here. Look.
He's in the program. He's got both hands going.
Oh, he's playing solitaire or something.
But the person you're talking about, I mean, he's famous.
Yeah.
With
And
those
his stuff
sculptures.
brings
a lot of
the
money.
original stuff brings.
So
high
maybe one of
dollars.
our listeners might could call in and tell us who that is.
I was thinking Russell did some sculpting.
It wasn't Russell though. If you said the guy's name, here we go. Put your headset on, Max. Don't get them mixed up. All right. You'll have to talk to Max. He's the only one that's got the headset on.
Is it not Remington?
I believe you're right, Frederick Remington.
That's it, Remington.
Frederick Remington.
100%
Great, thank you so
right.
much because I couldn't remember, but his stuff is worth a lot of money.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you. His original stuff, and there's been a lot of stuff, copies of his stuff.
Sure there is. You know, we've had this show for 16 years, and one thing we've always said, if it's really good and it's hot, somebody's going to forge it. If they'll forge money, they'll forge the Western stuff.
Well, we talked many times
Well,
about the
Civil War.
fake Civil War stuff. You know that they've ruined some of the markets in that just by infiltrating it with fakes.
All right, let's see here. Okay, let's see. This year's high noon auction included a bowling and other saddles. Let me see here. Let me find something really good. Oh, you remember the movie The Shootist with John Wayne?
Oh yeah.
All right. The poster, the John Wayne movie poster. I mean, The Shootist poster. How much you think that brought?
I don't know.
16,000.
The
John Wayne must have signed that one.
wasn't the Shootist his last.
That was his last show. Yeah, and he in the movie, if you remember,
He's got
dying.
cancer.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Jimmy Stewart is the doctor.
Yeah.
He said,
yeah.
I don't know how to tell you this, Bucks, but you know that.
You do a good job.
Hey, I gotta. Let me try this on Philip.
All right.
Gloria, who is this Philip person? And what is this P-Head Productions thing? I'm confused, Gloria.
You do a good Stuart. You might ought to start you a. You know what? I might ought to be your agent and book you a few places.
Who is this David Pinchington?
Well, and then another one sheet poster. Now you remember the one brought 16,000. This next one, it only brought $800. Just imagine that, just 800. What do you think about that?
Pretty high dollar posters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we went to do some work at the VA in Nashville, and we went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, and they have a whole hall down there called the Hatch Posters exhibit, and it's a company that made those old movie posters and it made those flyers for concerts, country shows, and things like that. And
Wrestling?
they've got them on at wrestling, and they've got them on the walls all over that museum. And they're for somebody that some of them look like they're screened, or you know, and for somebody that knows more about the process of how they made those things, it's probably more interesting. But I just enjoy looking at the posters.
Some of them, Max, is kind of rough the way they're screened. It looks like they, you know, of course they were cheap. I mean, cheap posters like for the wrestling stuff. I put up a bunch of those. You know, I used to cater the wrestling matches around here. Well, in this area.
I didn't know you were a wrestling promoter.
No, I'm not. I was just the one that cooked the hot dogs. We're getting another call? All right, we got another call now. Are we on? Oh, Keith, are we ready? Okay, well, Max will have to answer this because he's the only one with the headphone.
Good morning.
You are. Speak up, Max.
Good morning.
Good morning, Max.
Hey.
This is Charlotte Philpott.
Hey, Charlotte.
Hey, the person you're trying to think of is probably Remington,
Yes, Frederick Remington.
but there is a Charles Russell that does a lot of Western, too. Bronze Western sculptures, and he's really good.
Is he the same Russell that we started talking about? I thought Charles Russell was a sculptor also.
Well, I'm not sure. I'd have to,
I don't think he was.
but he was
But
Charles Russell.
yes,
He does the bronze.
yes.
And he's not a Texan, he's not Western, but he was, I don't know if he did the other or not, but Remington.
Frederick Remington was the one that
Remington,
his,
the most famous one, and his are, usually pretty expensive, but he did a lot.
and there's a lot of motion in the in his work though, right, Charlotte?
Right. They're always like on a bucking horse or, something like that, or they did a lot of Indian trails, that kind of
Yes.
stuff. But so did Russell. He did a lot of motion things too.
That's what I tried to tell David. I tried to tell David that Russell did, but he said, no, I don't think it was him.
Well, I mess up every once in a while.
Thank you, though. That's right. It's Frederick Remington.
Yeah, that's right. Have a good day.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you.
All right, we got another auction item here. Now, are you familiar with trapdoor guns?
Somewhat.
Are you, Ray?
No.
Okay, the Harry Carey family, they put a lot of stuff into this auction, a lot of his stuff. This here was a Springfield 73 trapdoor rifle converted to a carbine, and the movie rental shop and presented to Harry Carey Jr. and used in She Wore a Yellow Ribbon. You remember that?
Yeah.
How much you think that little rifle brought?
Good gracious.
$4,000. That don't sound too bad,
That
does it?
doesn't sound like much for an item like that.
I don't know that much about trapdoor rifle. I had one time, but I swapped it off. I don't really know that much about them. But anyway, that
So
one rifle.
converted to a carbine?
Yeah, but it brought $4,000. So let's see, a group of lobby cards, one sheets, and an autographed photo sold for $400. Oh, listen to this one: 2 John Wayne signed letters.
From
2 John Wayne signed letters
signed Hondo?
and a signed Hondo photo went for how much?
$2,500.
Boy, you're good. Are you looking over my shoulder?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to have to take a break, and I'm going to have to think about that one. Keith, can we take a break?
Well, Gloria, let's take a coffee break.
All right. We're going to do that.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
Shelton Lane Antiques in Manchester has over 5,000 square feet of antiques for treasure hunters to explore. They sell vintage clocks, gas pumps, signs, furniture, and glassware. They have over 3,000 vinyl records and a fully stocked 1950s-style general store. Owners Harold and Ruby Shelton have been collecting unique items for years, and you can start or complete your own collection today at Shelton Lane Antiques. Open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 100 Shelton Lane, just off 16th Model Road in Manchester, Tennessee. Come look around and plan to stay a while at Shelton Lane Antiques, where we sell antiques, but the history is free.
We are Goody Two Scoops.
I love Goody Two Scoops.
a family-friendly, yummy dessert specialty shop in Tullahoma, Tennessee. We excel in self-serve frozen treats and our own incredibly tasty chef-baked creations. For frozen treat lovers, we offer frozen yogurt, ice cream custard, as well as gelato and Italian ice. 85 flavors that rotate each day. 55 toppings including fresh sliced fruit. For our baked good lovers, Goody Two Scoops offers a variety of fresh pastries at a hometown price. Our 2 certified culinary chefs design and create incredible cakes. We showcase our cakes, froyo cakes, cupcakes, cookies, pies, and chocolate-covered strawberries, offered fresh daily.
Love fighting.
Goody Two Scoops.
All right, Max. Let Jimmy Stewart bring us back in here.
No. Let's save Jimmy.
All right. Keith, what do you think about me getting, you think we could probably get him booked and he could start performing the stand-up?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I think you make a good one, Max. Now, I just want to meet. I just
Gloria, who is this Keith person?
Okay, here's the next bunch of stuff that sold. A Buck Taylor portrait of James Arnaz, signed by James Arnaz and Buck Taylor. A Milburn Stone hat, similar to his Doc Adams hat, but a little bit lighter in color. A signed Milburn Stone letter. 2 signed letters from Gunsmoke producer, thanking Dobie for his work on Gunsmoke, and a combo tool, monkey wrench, and knife.
Are you saying that?
And a screwdriver, and a bottle opener.
Are you saying
all that stuff? How much you thought it brought?
I don't know.
$500. That was probably the buy of the night. What do you think?
Was Harry Carey or Dobie? Was he on Gunsmoke later?
He must have been.
I didn't remember.
John Wayne played a lot of in James Arnaz becoming a hit. He was very impressed with James Arnaz.
Well, I think the role of Matt Dillon was offered to
John Wayne.
Yeah, and he recommended James Arnaz.
Yeah.
Did y'all know that James Arnaz was the Thing, the first Thing? Did you know that?
Oh, you talking about that horror movie in the 50s?
Yeah.
Early 50s?
He was the Thing.
I noticed him the other night. He was in another Western. A Western. You know, I'm so used to saying restaurant, but it was a Western he was in, and I was trying to think. Oh, he was a bad guy in this one, but he turned out to end up being a good guy.
Who his brother was Peter?
Wasn't he in Hondo?
Arnaz?
Yeah.
Yes.
And remember, he's the one that saved his life by using his Winchester, using Hondo's Winchester to shoot the Indian. You know, because he wasn't going to let him have that rifle, and he said, "Since you saved my life, I'm going to give you that rifle." And he was in there.
Arnaz was in Hondo. But Arnaz's brother.
He was in Mission Impossible.
Mission
wasn't he?
Impossible.
What's his name?
Right. What's his name, Ray?
Peter something.
Peter.
Looked just like him. Almost.
Looks just like him.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure somebody call and tell us.
Well, anyway, I noticed in that Western when they stood beside each other, they looked about the same height.
Yeah.
So wasn't he like 6'4" or 5"?
Mm-hmm.
James Arnaz.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Oh, now listen to this in here. They took his hide. You know how they process a hide, and they framed it.
Got a call.
Oh, we got a call? All right. All right. Max, you're going to have to handle the call, you or Jimmy Stewart one.
Good morning, caller.
Yeah, you were trying to think of Matt's brother. His name was Peter Graves.
Peter Graves. Thank you so much. Just
See,
gone blank.
Well, you know what? That's why we got this audience. They know as much as we do, or some of them evidently know more.
Do y'all remember Saturday mornings on Saturday morning TV? Was he not in Fury?
Was it?
Saturday morning show called Fury?
Guys, we got one more call.
All right, good morning, caller.
Buddy done beat me to it.
Buddy done beat me to it. Thank you.
See, I'm telling you, we have a lot of listeners, and now we got a lot of viewers.
And a lot of people that know what they're talking about.
We go plumb to Lincoln County now.
Lincoln County?
Yes, sir. Bedford County, Franklin County, Moore County, Coffee County. You're almost international, Max. You and Stuart. Okay, this hide that they tanned and got it, and they had signatures on it, 150 different people, including John Ford, John Wayne, I'll just try to, Ray Milan, Harry Carey, Clark Gable. I mean, just all kinds of different people signed the thing. How much you think that brought? 150 signatures now. 4,200.
Wow.
That's really a bargain, isn't it? If you do it by the signatures.
Yeah. What about this Big Jake coffee mug?
What about it?
How much did it bring?
Where do you see it at?
Right there.
Oh yeah. You mean jump way over on the other side of the page?
No, go on down the page. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm gonna jump way over on the other side.
I didn't mean to break your concentration.
Yeah. The same. Let me see what it says here.
Train of thought.
Coffee mug from the Searchers brought 3,500. The Big Jake brought 1,900. It's a coffee mug.
Man.
And he gave them out to people.
Well.
What do you think?
Do y'all remember before John Wayne died that he actually had a small naval like a destroyer escort or something that he turned into a yacht, and he actually drove that thing around out in the water. It was like it was a Navy ship that he bought.
No, wait a minute. You are a sailor, right?
Well, I'm
Do
trying
you
to
actually
think of,
drive stuff?
No, it's
okay. Now you was in the Navy.
He was he was at the helm. He was a helmsman.
Okay. But you don't drive big ships, do you?
Well, if you're a landlubber, you do. But I'm a sea dog. I ought to know the terminology, but I don't.
Well, keep talking there.
He's scanning some more items from the.
Oh, W.C. Fields was in that signature too.
Yeah, and from this high noon auction that's been going on for several years, it brings a lot of interesting items that they have up for sale.
All right, Dobie Carey's trousers worn in Tombstone. You remember that Tombstone, the movie, along with a pair of boots, Kelly spurs, a non-film cowboy hat. What does that mean, a non-film cowboy hat? It actually wasn't in the movie.
Yeah.
His Colorado driver's license, an honorary police badge, and 5 Academy membership cards. How much you think all that brought?
500.
Oh, you can.
What about Gary Cooper?
Well, hold on, man. I'm just gonna pass it on to you and let you go ahead and you do it.
See.
Go ahead.
Academy membership. I guess the police academy. Let's see, a group of 10 signed photos.
Oh, okay.
Gary Cooper, Loretta Young, Lane Chandler, Bill Boyd.
Yeah. Bill Boyd. Now tell him who Bill Boyd
Hoppy
was.
Boyd.
Yeah.
Hopalong Cassidy. Gabby Hayes, Clark Gable, and others for $1,000.
All right. Hopalong
Who
Cassidy
came up with the name Hopalong for him?
Oh, remember there was somebody wrote a book about Hopalong Cassidy.
Yeah.
And that's something we'll probably need to look up. How that
That'd be interesting.
They thought about trip along, but they decided that
Well, reckon he got shot in one leg and he had to hop along.
they decided trip along wasn't going to work too well.
What was
Clarence Mulford was the name.
Yeah, Clarence Mulford.
1904.
Yeah, did it say why he wrote that? Why he come up with that? How he come up with the name? Hopalong Cassidy. What was Hopalong Cassidy's horse's name, Max?
I did know. I did know.
Is it Topper?
Yes.
Topper?
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
I was a.
Well, keep going there since you took the book away from me.
I was a Hoppy Boyd fan.
You got all this right here. Buddy. Keep walking the dog there. How close, Keith, are we to another break? We got to. You want to do it now? All right, we're going to take another break. Now I'm going to let you educate yourself while on this break, Jimmy. Tell everybody bye.
I'm not going to.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
Shelton Lane Antiques in Manchester has over 5,000 square feet of antiques for treasure hunters to explore. They sell vintage clocks, gas pumps, signs, furniture, and glassware. They have over 3,000 vinyl records and a fully stocked 1950s-style general store. Owners Harold and Ruby Shelton have been collecting unique items for years, and you can start or complete your own collection today at Shelton Lane Antiques. Open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 100 Shelton Lane, just off 16th Model Road in Manchester, Tennessee. Come look around and plan to stay a while at Shelton Lane Antiques, where we sell antiques, but the history is free.
We are Goody Two Scoops.
I love Goody Two Scoops.
A family-friendly, yummy dessert specialty shop in Tullahoma, Tennessee. We excel in self-serve frozen treats and our own incredibly tasty chef-baked creations. For frozen treat lovers, we offer frozen yogurt, ice cream custard, as well as gelato and Italian ice. 85 flavors that rotate each day. 55 toppings including fresh sliced fruit. For our baked good lovers, Goody Two Scoops offers a variety of fresh pastries at a hometown price. Our 2 certified culinary chefs design and create incredible cakes. We showcase our cakes, froyo cakes, cupcakes, cookies, pies, and chocolate-covered strawberries, offered fresh daily.
Love fire.
Goody Two Scoops.
All right.
Well, here we are.
You're back on now. Since you took my book, you can keep reading all them big auction prices.
We're in the middle of this, going over some of these items that belong to Harry Carey Jr. that were in this high noon auction of these Western memorabilia. And it occurs to me, and I'm reminded that Harry Carey Jr. was in so many movies.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Tombstone. He was in, what was the other one here that I saw? Of course, I mentioned She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, and but then he was in later versions of Gunsmoke.
Oh yeah,
I think, according to this.
Well, what about that hat right there?
Anyway, this is a black beaver hat with a snakeskin band, and it was worn by Harry Carey Jr. in the movie The Undefeated. That was the one with Rock Hudson and John Wayne,
mm-hmm.
and it brought $700.
You know, to me, that seems like that'd be a buy.
Yeah.
Well, now there's a lot of those different mugs and stuff up there at the top.
Now here's a hat, a black film-worn hat, given to Dobie, or that's Harry Carey Jr. by Tom Selleck,
mm-hmm.
and it brought $700.
Hmm.
And then this coffee mug we mentioned earlier from the Searchers, that thing brought $3,500.
Why? Did it say why? I didn't see. I don't.
And
think
then
I read
the Big Jake coffee mug,
yeah,
brought $1,900, all signed by Duke.
Uh
huh.
People like coffee.
Yeah. Especially if John Wayne signed the cup.
Wait a minute. Let's see. There's signed letters to Carey Sr. from William S. Hart and Walt Disney, James Stewart, Henry Fonda.
Boy.
$2,500. One sheet from The Sheriff's Baby, 1913, starring Harry Carey Sr., $800.
Hey, Max, on those letters, you know, I believe if you took a Walt Disney, Keith, look it up there on, if you took a Walt Disney signature, just that signature alone's worth, it should be worth $2,500 if you cut it.
Harry Carey Sr. was basically goes back to the silent film era.
Sure it does.
He was a cowboy star in the.
I'm not familiar with him.
I'll tell you who he reminds me of.
Well, when he
Paul Fix. Paul Fix was in he was the sheriff in all the Rifleman's episodes, and Paul Fix was a very good older actor. But anyway, Harry Carey Sr. kind of reminds me of Paul Fix.
What about some of the Walt Disney signatures? What are they bringing?
$2,000 for a 1958 World Fair autograph signature, authenticated, certified. $1,300 for another one. $765.
So see that one signature, you could cut that signature, send it off, get it graded, and clear the rest of the items by having it graded. You know, authenticating that it's a real signature by PSA or somebody, and that's who I would use, PSA. Now there's other authenticators, but. So, what was some of the other signatures on that that you was talking about, Max? Besides Walt Disney.
Well,
what about John Hart?
William S. Hart. He was he was a cowboy star.
Yes, he was. He was in the silent movies.
And James Stewart, Henry Fonda.
Well, we're going to look up William S. Hart, and then we'll look up James Stewart and Henry Fonda.
Now here, one of Harry Carey Sr.'s more famous westerns was called Trader Horn, from 1934, and there was the zebra skin chaps that he wore brought $22,500.
Oh yeah, and they were good looking. What about that signature?
Only two for William Hart. The highest one's $33.
33. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what about who else did we say?
Henry Fonda.
Yeah, Henry Fonda ought to be a good one. What I was trying to do here is take where they bought all those letters. I mean, that
60.
That has to be how much was it, Keith?
$60.
60. And are you at the highest price?
Yes.
Okay.
There's not that many on here.
Yeah.
Only about 5.
So Walt Disney was the power signature on that bunch of stuff. I figured Henry Fonda though would bring. What else you got there, Max? I noticed that belt buckle. That's a high dollar piece. I'm gonna do you like you did me. Skip around. See that belt buckle?
Well, you're breaking my chain now.
Yeah.
How'd that feel? This bowling presentation buckle to Roy Rogers by the L.A. County Sheriff's Association brought $13,000, and Roy's 1952 Madison Square Garden Rodeo scrapbook brought $1,200.
What's in boots there?
Those are. Let's see. They were the world's champion. Let's see. Rodeo, Sterling heavy gauge. I'm reading out loud.
We're gonna have to.
Inlaid rubies.
Yeah.
There's an Indian Nudie made. If y'all aren't familiar with Nudie, N-U-D-I-E, he was a tailor that made all these gaudy sheriff Western outfits that people wore, including country stars, Order Wagner stuff.
Oh yeah.
Nudie. This is a Nudie made Indian motif shirt that brought $5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah.
Keith, you got any of that stuff?
No, I don't.
Right?
I wish.
You do have though. You have got some good stuff.
I've got some good stuff.
You got that one.
Anyway, just the Roy Rogers lots in this sale brought over $83,000.
Ain't that something?
There were Roy Rogers toys, comics, clothing, and other memorabilia.
I noticed some of that stuff didn't bring very much money. That out on the street would bring a lot more, and that's the benefit of going to an auction.
I don't.
There's money to be made. Just like those signatures you was talking about earlier. If you know what you're doing, and hopefully this show has educated a lot of people on what to do. But if you know what you're doing, there's money to be made in this kind of stuff. You got a couple, 2 or 3 more unique pieces there. It looks like.
This says that Burt Reynolds denies that at a December auction of 372 items of his Hollywood memorabilia is the cash grab to bail him out of bankruptcy. He's 78 years old, and he staged a big ticket auction through Julian's Auctions in Las Vegas, Nevada, in December. Paintings, awards, clothing, guns, movie props, and much more rained in $2.5 million.
Well, that ought to got him out of bankruptcy.
But he says it wasn't to do that. But I had heard that his ranch in Jupiter, Florida, where he's from?
Yeah.
They call him Ray. They call him Buddy down there. You remember that? The people in Florida in his hometown call him Buddy.
Well, he's done a lot of good down there. He's created theaters and stuff for those people, and he probably draws a lot of tourist attraction there. What's the badge? How much that badge bring? And those hats and
Let's see. Prop guns and from various films, anywhere from $750 to $2,187.
Now these are just prop guns.
This is a Gunsmoke badge.
Mm-hmm.
And Burt Reynolds was in Gunsmoke.
Mm-hmm.
Sold for $2,560, and his this old ragged Mexican sombrero that he wore in 100 rifles bought $5,120.
What was his name in Gunsmoke? Wasn't he like the
he was like the blacksmith? He was like
I bet you Keith can tell us, or Philip.
Come on, Phil.
But he wasn't he the blacksmith in Gunsmoke?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Keith.
Yes, he was.
And what was his name in
Quint Asper.
Quint Asper.
From 1962 to 65.
All right.
From 62 to 65.
Yes, sir. 62. Just a couple of years.
Yeah, not long at all. But
a lot of people made showings on Gunsmoke over the years.
Sure they did. Hey, Max, I'm just wondering on Burt Reynolds. You know, I bet you he had several of those Firebirds. You know.
Oh yeah.
Smokey and the Bandit. I bet you he had some of those movie cars. He had to have.
They've got a little exhibit on him down at the Country Music Hall of Fame of him and Jerry Reed in the Smokey movies.
Do they have one of the cars?
They didn't have. They had a big picture of him in the Firebird, but I don't think they had one of the Firebirds there.
Well,
anyway, how long till the next break, Keith?
We can go ahead and take it.
Oh no! Well, you're
Let's
gonna
take
have
it now.
Yeah, so he can. Boy, you're clumsy.
We'll be right back.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
Shelton Lane Antiques in Manchester has over 5,000 square feet of antiques for treasure hunters to explore. They sell vintage clocks, gas pumps, signs, furniture, and glassware. They have over 3,000 vinyl records and a fully stocked 1950-style general store. Owners Harold and Ruby Shelton have been collecting unique items for years, and you can start or complete your own collection today at Shelton Lane Antiques. Open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 100 Shelton Lane, just off 16th Model Road in Manchester, Tennessee. Come look around and plan to stay a while at Shelton Lane Antiques, where we sell antiques, but the history is free.
We are Goody Two Scoops.
I love Goody Two Scoops.
a family-friendly, yummy dessert specialty shop in Tullahoma, Tennessee. We excel in self-serve frozen treats and our own incredibly tasty chef-baked creations. For frozen treat lovers, we offer frozen yogurt, ice cream custard, as well as gelato and Italian ice. 85 flavors that rotate each day. 55 toppings including fresh sliced fruit. For our baked good lovers, Goody Two Scoops offers a variety of fresh pastries at a hometown price. Our 2 certified culinary chefs design and create incredible cakes. We showcase our cakes, froyo cakes, cupcakes, cookies, pies, and chocolate-covered strawberries, offered fresh daily.
Love fighting.
Goody Two Scoops.
All right, Max.
We're back. Had a coffee accident.
We're going to get you a sippy cup for next week, so don't worry about that.
I got you sippy cup.
All right, let's talk about John Dillinger.
This is a pretty interesting story. Crown Point, Indiana, northwestern corner of Indiana, kind of close to Chicago, is a town where John Dillinger broke out of jail, and it was a very daring escape. And he carved a pistol out of a piece of wood and colored it black.
With shoe polish,
stuck it in the shoe polish and stuck it in the ribs of a deputy. He went through 3 deputies and locked each one of them up, and then made his getaway in the sheriff's V8 car. But the sheriff was a woman who was a widow who was filling the rest of her late husband's term, who was killed in action on the job, and so it was embarrassing for her. And there was a lot of criticism because the sheriff being a woman, and
you know, she just died in about 1995, and she's 103 years old.
Yeah, and the town kind of protected her, kind of rallied around her, and took up for her. And but anyway, it was embarrassment over the years for her and a lot of the people in the town. And this is an ongoing feud between 2 factions. They have a John Dillinger museum, and where they're basically glorifying, or I wouldn't say glorifying, but they're drawing a lot of attention to his exploits, especially there in Crown Point, Indiana. The other faction is a group that runs the old jail museum,
which was the original museum.
Yeah, and those people feel like that they shouldn't be glorifying Dillinger and his escapades, and at the expense of the embarrassment of the law enforcement people, because some of these people's ancestors were the ones that were there when that were actually the guys, the deputies and so forth, that he actually tricked into, and went during making his famous escape. But the article points out, and we'll get to Ray here in a minute talking about Bonnie and Clyde. There's a town in Louisiana that tries to bring in tourist dollars from the Bonnie and Clyde stuff, and they've got a lot of the Bonnie and Clyde pieces and so forth. But Ray, what was you going to tell us about Bonnie and Clyde?
I'm just going to say that they use the Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs music to do the background for that, and it really helped Flatt and Scruggs, as well as it made a big hit out of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Well, the chase music was Foggy Mountain Breakdown.
Exactly, and it was really a great hit for them.
Max, on those 2 museums you're talking about, they both got kind of unique items. One's got the pants that he actually got shot in, right?
Yeah, there's brown bloodstains on these pants, and then they have this basket that they put his body in.
A wicker basket.
A wicker basket. And
they have a picture of him, of course, his face, when he was laying there dead too. I think that's one of the items they got.
And there's 4 Jesse James museums in Missouri, and then New Mexico had a tourism campaign built around Billy the Kid, and this place in Louisiana is Gibbsland, Louisiana. And they host an annual Bonnie and Clyde festival with historical lectures, a pancake breakfast, and a reenactment of the famous massacre at the spot where it happened.
Well, and like you was talking about on the
I drew a snigger out of Phil over in the corner there.
We celebrate everything, though.
yeah. Well, you know what though? That's big tourist dollars for them people.
Oh, yes, sir.
People they want to go see where Bonnie and Clyde was shot. But now, like on Bonnie and Clyde, that one museum, it's got, I think it has her hat, some of the glass from the car, and I don't know what else Max it got. But it's
got a photo of the bank robber's lifeless face, and of course the gun.
No, you're talking about John Dillinger right now.
We're on Bonnie and Clyde. I get.
Well, that's all right. But what you're talking about, that gun. Actually got
Clyde's
that wooden gun.
Got Clyde's shotgun.
Yeah.
You mentioned you mentioned Bonnie and Clyde's pants. Bonnie's pants sold for $460 a piece of it.
Just a piece of
Just a piece of it was $460.
God.
We've talked about this
Another
before.
one sold for $400. Another piece of it.
Where is the Bonnie and Clyde car now? It came through here.
Believe it or not, when I was a kid in the early '60s, I remember seeing it up in Tullahoma. It stayed over a few days. You know, people would stop there and do different ones, you know, different tours, like a little carnival sideshow thing. But the Bonnie and Clyde's car was there, and it had not a zillion, but it sure looked like a zillion hose. It was a lot of hose. Where's that car at now, Keith?
Nevada.
Is it in one of the casinos?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Whiskey Pete's Casino.
No telling what. And that car was stolen. You know, that wasn't, it didn't actually belong to Bonnie and Clyde. So it looks like the owner of the car, of course, I don't know if it had insurance back then. Maybe the insurance paid for it and it belonged to the insurance company. But
anyway, briefly get back here to Dillinger in this Crown Point, Indiana story. This lady, this Miss Holly,
the sheriff.
Her name was Sheriff Holly, Lillian Holly. She was Indiana's first female sheriff. And after this embarrassment he actually got away in her car, and
which was a Ford V8. Though.
FBI's Melvin Purvis said that a sheriff's office is no place for a woman.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
I bet he wouldn't say that today.
All right. Anyway, here was this young widow who had been embarrassed and humiliated, and the people in the town kind of formed a human cocoon around her and kind of protected her, because there was a lot of people that were critical and being kind of chauvinistic, like some people have been known to do. And anyway, it's a pretty interesting story to have these two groups pitted against each other with two different points of view about how they should be handling the Dillinger story.
I can't think of no famous thing that's happened here at the Coffee County Jail that no criminal like that. But they always said though that Highway 41 is where they all rode through. You know, from Chicago to Miami. They's talking about some of the gangsters that Al Capone and
we all know it's kind of common knowledge, and there's a few things that have been told that aren't exactly true. But Al Capone did stop at Mount Eagle and stay in the house that's now the High Point restaurant.
Well, was it really his house?
No, it was built by a railroad man, and there's stories about secret escape passageways and things like that. I don't know about all of that, but Capone would stop on his way halfway from Chicago down to Miami and back, and stay and rest for 3 or 4 days. Because back then, a trip from Chicago to Miami would have been a pretty grueling.
I'd say the roads weren't that good.
Well, they didn't open up 41 over Mount Eagle Mountain until 1937. So, but before that, you had to go up through Cowan and Swanee.
Keith, what are you looking at?
I'm looking at Dillinger. Just looking more on Dillinger.
Anything particular?
Nothing yet. Just scanning.
Okay.
Now here's something interesting. The Johnny Depp, they made a Dillinger story where Johnny Depp played Dillinger in 2009, and they used they filmed some scenes in the old jail,
the actual jail that he broke out of
in Crown Point, and in exchange for, and they were hard up for cash. They needed They needed a furnace and, among other things, $100,000 worth of renovation.
Huh.
So they hit him a lick with Johnny Depp in his movie in
Well,
2009.
they just wrote that off, though.
No, they used it to
I'm talking about the movie company.
Oh, sure.
No big deal. They just added that to your ticket sale.
Sure. But anyway, this they think the one faction in the town feels like the Dillinger display is like a slap in the face to this lady, this Lillian Holly. And for years, people would not, out of respect for her, would not mention the episode around her. And she was a kind of a well-known person in the community, and she gave to charities and
But here's the
generous
thing.
person.
Here's the thing, Max. They got through 3 deputies. Men that were deputies.
Yeah.
With a wooden gun.
I mean,
with a wooden gun.
Yeah. Before he got her car.
Kind of reminds you of Barney Fife a little bit, don't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, but Barney did have 1 bullet. John Dillinger didn't even have a bullet.
That's right.
We got about 2 minutes here. Do you want to wind that up?
Well, anyway, I just thought it was interesting that that they're having this kind of a rift between these two groups, and then you have, of course, these other towns and other places like Missouri and Louisiana that are trying to draw tourist dollars off of well-known outlaws.
Here's what I think, and I'm just an outsider looking in, but looks like to me those two would go together and have a lot better museum, together and get over it.
This one lady, there's a historian there and a history buff there in the town, says she will not set foot in that Dillinger.
In the new one.
In the new one. She said, I will not set foot.
They would all benefit by going ahead and having one really, and I guess both of them are good, but what if you combine both of them with the stuff they got? I think it'd be a big draw to that town. And it still is anyway, because they got 2 museums.
Hadn't really got time to get into it, but we do need to talk a little bit about Ray's been trying to get us a museum here, a bluegrass museum, and
boy, that'd be a big draw for this community.
He's got a lot of items that had belonged to his dad, Curly Seckler, and we need to really go to work and try to get something going on that.
I've had an approach. It's just an approach at this point for Lynchburg.
Yeah.
A fella came to me a couple of days ago about
what we need to do, though, Ray, be nice. We need it to be in Coffee County, but if Coffee County,
nice.
Whichever county helps you, that's the one you ought to go to.
It would draw a lot of trade down there. Probably financially, probably be more profitable in Lynchburg.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that the people here would.
All right, we're going to have to run. But that's something, maybe next week we need to talk a little bit more about that. We got to get out of here. Y'all ready to go?
Thank you there, Philip.
Thank you, Philip.